this foreign language teacher, what's the net effect of that? Right now, all the students at that grade level have, I believe it's one study hall per day. It's going to jump for at least 1 quarter, 2 study halls per day. Significant period of
On
time.
a rotational basis, I think
Right,
they said.
right.
Yeah.
But
They visit.
for 1 quarter per year, you have a student in 2 study halls per day. So, no, they may not be released a half day, but in effect, it'll be a half day of education going on. So I hope people are listening and understand what the impact is. So,
All right, the hour is late.
Yeah.
I think you got some input from us associated with suggestions on closing the gap.
Yep, I'm jotting them down right now in my slip box, which doesn't seem to work anymore.
Mine doesn't either. Mine stopped working too.
Completely failed.
Yeah, I'll have to figure
I
out what
haven't
that
used
is.
it.
really didn't.
So if you don't see any updates, it's not.
No,
Too much of a
but
learning
I-
I'm
curve.
trying to keep track.
I can't even get
Underneath
anything.
it. I can't-
Yes, I am
that.
better.
Mine too.
Keep the notes. No, you can't look at it in Dropbox, you know that.
I do. I tried to sync it with the Dropbox and it doesn't sync.
Oh, it doesn't sync, that's different. I'll look into it. I had, let's do this then, Monday night, Greg can come back with some input. We're gonna take town input based on the budget. We can adjust the presentation so that we can provide them with some information. And then, we'll hear from the water department, the
Water Commission.
water commission, and get that settled, hopefully. We had scheduled an executive session tonight, I noticed that the agenda had one of the topics in the wrong place, but I don't know how you guys feel about having that discussion tonight or not, because we still have Greg's report,
What was that discussion? I'm sorry.
the
Number 9?
the review, Greg's review.
That could wait if you don't mind. Greg? He doesn't mind waiting, I don't mind waiting.
No, I mean, I've provided some information, I don't
Yeah.
know what, I think it's a matter of looking at some of the issues that we think we wanna talk to Greg specifically about, so I'd prefer to have a meaningful discussion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think tonight wouldn't be fair to Greg
Yeah.
to do it now at 11
Oh, I
o'clock at
would
night.
hope that you would come to your consensus before you talk to me.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no,
no,
I'm
no.
just saying for us to
Yeah, right.
give
Well, I
you
think
the
that's-
consensus,
yeah, right.
we can't do it tonight. I mean,
Okay, all right, fine. So, the next Monday night, with only those 2 items on our agenda, I think we should have time to do that.
I suggest we do this, again, if we could do the 6 o'clock executive session. I know it's tough for people, but we're guaranteed to get
I don't know that I
that
can
done.
make that. When is this, Monday?
25th. Or even if we get a half hour in earlier and continue on later, but, because I think we're gonna have a long meeting on the 25th.
No, we
You
probably
say,
have
is it just the budget?
Yeah, well, and water. That's all that's on the agenda right now.
Yeah, we pretty much discussed that pretty well.
Yeah, I think with the water, they're just gonna come in and make their recommendation, that's that. All we have to do is vote on it.
So, we'll do it on the 25th, okay?
Okay.
And we'll meet at 7. All right. Town administrators report.
Get back on a slip box.
We don't have to do the warrant articles?
You know what, I don't wanna have a big discussion. I talked to Greg about it, and I'll talk.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip over number 1. We already talked about that as part of Bob's presentation. Bob's also talked about the budget exposures for fiscal year 2011. I'm trying to think if there's anything in here that got missed along the way. I don't see anything, nope. Number 3 is just an update on the Information Technology Advisory Committee. Selectman Jeff Yule did attend a meeting of the committee a week and a half ago. We talked about a number of different ideas. We had a brainstorming session. As part of that discussion, we identified 3 priority projects to be accomplished in the upcoming months. That's an emergency alert system. You'll remember from the water crisis last July, we had to send out a message using the school's Direct Connect system. We need to have a system like that in place here in town. It's a service that's offered and available through contracting with a private vendor. The second thing we talked about was an IT ticketing system. We talked a little bit when Gene was here about better utilizing his time so that he's not inundated with a number of different requests. Gene spends a lot of time troubleshooting, and it seems like the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the grease. And one of the things that I'm kind of intrigued about is some of the routine IT issues can probably be placed with a private service. For example, installing a printer or setting up a computer. And if there's a ticketing system that's in place, it frees up Gene's time to be more effective in being a manager versus what I call a plumber. He spends a lot of his time being a plumber right now. Plumber is the guy who's connecting wires and getting connections together. And then the third thing, which really isn't a surprise, is rollout of the Laserfiche document management system. Committee is scheduled to meet with the vendor at our meeting next week, who's providing the digital headquarters to the police department. They're in the process of rolling out a new program which is called Digital Town Hall. We don't know anything about it, but we do want to explore the idea. We think it has some merit in terms of something that may be tremendously beneficial to us. Remember, the police department for years had no technology at all. If you remember going down to the police department, there was a 3-ring notebook that sat on the center counter. And now I think they're probably state-of-the-art compared to any police department in Massachusetts. We can do something similar to that in Town Hall. We want to look at that. And so those are the priority projects that have been identified by the committee going forward. I think I had mentioned earlier about the health insurance. I had expected that when I came in today, I'd have a recommendation from the town's health insurance consultant about additional plan options for fiscal 2012. The consultant had solicited additional proposals for health insurance for no increase for next fiscal year. And I will have that information available for your next meeting. I don't have it. I didn't get it. When I spoke to the consultant today, it was my impression in speaking with him is he didn't have it either. So he said that he would put it together for our next meeting. That's it.
They met with the Insurance Advisory Committee?
No, they did not meet with the insurance advisory. Could we get our rep from Maya come out and speak with the insurance advisory committee? I thought he did a really good job in terms of giving employees an understanding that status quo is not an option for fiscal year 2012. And it was a good meeting in that sense, but these gentlemen did not come out because what I wanted to do was have them come out when we had quotes on the additional plans that we want to roll out as options. So they did not come out to that meeting.
Okay.
So are they gonna come out with that, or?
Yes,
They are.
yes.
And why are they so far behind in their schedule? I mean,
Didn't we meet with them in January?
We did.
I'm a little disappointed in terms of their performance.
I understand where you're coming from, as am I.
Is there a reason for it? Do they
Well,
offer?
they actually seem to be pretty far ahead of the curve. They were in pretty good shape when they met with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
I
impressed. I don't
know.
know what happened
Yeah.
between January
the
and now.
tier
Good
ideas
selling
and-
job.
Remember, they did solicit quotes that we got in a few weeks ago for the status quo plan renewal. One of the things that was made abundantly clear to them, probably about a month ago, is that wasn't gonna fly. And I reported that to the board, that we didn't have the money to do a renewal at 4.9%. And again, it was my impression before I left on vacation that those quotes would be secured and be in my hands today, and they were not. So I intend to have a further discussion with the
It
consultant about
really
why that
doesn't-
didn't take place.
The question that isn't answered is, when we met with them, they seem to be, ahead of the curve on all of this stuff.
Yep.
And now, all of a sudden, they can't do anything on a timely basis. So has there something happened within this company, or with the two guys, or?
I'd like to have that discussion with them. I can't offer that information until I have a discussion with them.
And again, just to back up a little bit, the budget numbers that we're talking about considers how much of an increase?
2%.
2%.
It's essentially a plan of zero with some
Added
overhead costs.
New enrollees and,
New enrollees and some money for health insurance thing if in fact it's adopted.
So, I mean, Sean, you were suggesting that we look at something less. I mean, that number alone does not allow for status quo, anyway.
Right.
No.
No.
No, we know.
No, it does
I
not.
know.
And the employees know that too.
Right.
They know that what we can afford is not a dollar more than
You
that.
know, which is, one of the reasons, with what's going on in the health insurance, I can't understand why they're not banging on the door saying, okay, let's talk about this plan. Unless it hasn't been presented at all.
What was presented at the Insurance Advisory Committee meeting was the quotes that we received from all of the vendors going forward for fiscal, which was renewal of the status quo. We also introduced the plan that was presented a year ago, which was
The tiered plan.
tiered plan with no out-of-pocket payments. And you'll recall that the Insurance Advisory Committee, with the exception of 2 groups, rejected that. There seemed to be an appetite, a much more interested group in terms of thinking that that was a good alternative. The problem is we don't have the money for that alternative. So even though that alternative looked good a year ago, and
Right.
would have saved us considerable money, it doesn't fit within that 2% number going forward.
Right.
And that's too bad.
Yep.
So I will have a discussion with our consultant,
Mhm.
and I will report back to the board through the chairman and the members as soon as I have that conversation about what the holdup is.
Appreciate it.
Because I really don't understand what it is either.
Doesn't make sense.
3 months of nothing.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
That's it.
Steve?
All set.
Mike?
Yeah, I have a few things. First, I want to congratulate the Chief Harris on his retirement. I know he left, I think it was last Friday, after 34 years, so I do appreciate all the years of service he gave to this town, and much-deserved retirement, best to him and his family. I also want to congratulate all the marathon runners from North Reading that ran yesterday. Hopefully you all beat your times. The other thing I wanted to talk about was last week, myself and 2 members of the CPC met with the senior asset manager from Stop and Shop, along with his consulting staff. We were trying to just learn a little bit about what's going on, what's their plan for the vacant Stop and Shop building. And we did learn that they have just recently signed a lease with Ocean State Job Lot, so it is official. They are coming in the town. I did ask that they would at least be willing to bring Ocean State Job Lot into a CPC hearing, because they still have to go through and get their permitting and go through that process, which they haven't done yet. But I did ask them if they would be willing to at least take one of the CPC meetings and have a hearing and allow Ocean State Job Lot to come in and present to the public, because I have heard a lot of concerns. I haven't heard a lot of positives, and I shared that with them to make sure they heard from, what I've been hearing and probably what a lot of you guys have been hearing. It's good from the standpoint, it'd be great to see some new jobs and see some of that building being used. It's a 70,000 square foot building, and Ocean State Job Lot's gonna take up 40,000. And just so you know, they did share that their desire was to lease that whole building. Unfortunately, with this economy, they don't have a lot of people banging down the door to rent the 70,000 square foot facility. And I can definitely appreciate that, being an owner of some commercial property. What their plan is going forward for the remaining portions of the building is they're looking to divide the remaining pieces in half and lease those remaining pieces to 2 different companies. And they're in discussions with companies, but they have nothing signed at this point. So that's kind of where we are with Stop and Shop. I know a lot of people have been very interested in what's going to happen with that vacant building. Ocean State Job Lot is coming, and if you have any concerns or you want to learn more, stay tuned, look at the town website when the CPC meetings are and when the hearings are, and I believe they do post in their transcript as well when their meetings are and what the dates are, what their agendas are. Next thing I have is, I'm not sure if you guys saw my email on June 17th. Young lady in town, I won't mention her name, was able to work to help me get Fox News to come into town to do a zip trip. You guys ever seen the Fox News zip trip? You ever seen it? So they come into town, they basically, it's a great opportunity for us. It's on June 17th, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we'll get more information and present to the board, and, you know, we'll work with them on the agenda and how things work. But I think it's a great way for the town to be showcased on Fox News,
Do
and
they, does the town normally put together a group to kind of?
I'm gonna meet with them and learn what
Yeah,
usually
It
happens.
seems to me it's fairly well organized, the ones that I've
Yep.
watched.
I'm gonna talk to Steve, the town administrator over in Reading, because I know Reading did it a year or two ago.
Peter.
Peter, and see how they did it. I'm just curious, and then, you know, if somebody wants to take the lead on it, that's fine, but I think it's great for the town. Kind of thinking about what Sean had mentioned a few meetings ago
Seems
about
to me,
establishing.
some of the recreation groups have been involved, the ones that I've
They
seen.
probably want, I've already
Yeah.
contacted all of them. I've contacted our youth services group, some of the school committee folks, you know, the police department and things like that, to make sure everybody knows. And I'll continue to start getting information out when I'm getting it.
When do they televise that? At what time frame?
It's in the morning
They
live.
do it.
Six to
Oh, it's a
seven.
live thing?
It's
live,
live.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yep. And then the last thing I have is I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Safe travels if you're going out to visit family. That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
I too, like Michael, want to wish Chief Harris a very happy retirement. I took the time and met with him just prior to him having his last day, and I had expressed to him that, in my opinion, he left a little too soon, but I wish him well in his retirement. Sorry to hear the news tonight about what's going in over at the old Stop and Shop building. I don't think that's it's an asset for this community, unfortunately. Michael, I appreciate your efforts in the citizen who's doing coordinating the zip trip from Fox. I think that any positive exposure the town of North Reading gets is great. And I too wish everyone a happy Easter, as well as an enjoyable Passover.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all, with regard to Chief Harris, enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your time away. Thank you for everything that you've done. You've been here way before I have been here, so good luck and have a great retirement. Quick question, Smith property, anything going on that yet? Have you heard back from?
I have not, sir, I've just returned.
No, I know.
No, I have not had an opportunity.
Copeland and Page usually would throw have something on your desk right away now. But they have.
Darren was here that day and received that information from
Great,
the board.
okay, great, good. Also, we do have an election coming up, and I hope that we get a lot of people to show up and vote. I know that when I ran, Warren Jackson on Haverhill Street, I think it's 15 Haverhill Street when he was alive, he had this tradition of letting everybody put signs on his property, and I always appreciated that and thought that was a wonderful idea. And so I've decided to do the same thing. I did that last year. I let all the candidates put signs on my lawn, and so I make the same offer to Sean Delaney and Joe Vino to put signs on my lawn. And the reason why I feel that way, I think it's very important that people do come out and vote, that we here try to be as objective as we possibly can, so that anybody who comes forward and volunteers their time, as selectmen do and as many other people do in town, I think we should always encourage it as best as we can. So, I mean, I do wish you an awful lot of luck, and I support your efforts, and I support Joe's efforts, and may the town make a very good decision. Also, Easter, everybody have a happy Easter, and may the weather be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. My best wishes to Chief Harris on his retirement. May it be long and productive, and he's just another member of the Harris family that has worked for the town for a long number of years and is moving on. And hopefully he'll find a way of contributing to the community in other ways. Happy Easter, happy Passover. I think the opportunity to have Fox here, the Zip Trip, is a great opportunity for the community to show off what we have, the park, the golf course. And I think it's also an opportunity, Mike, I don't know if you've contacted the chamber, the restaurants in town, because normally they specialize
Yeah.
in
I've already
showing
spot-
off some of the restaurants and things like that.
I've had a
It's
couple
great
discussions with Pat Lee
opportunity,
about
yeah.
it, and, yep.
So, I think those are all good, positive things for the community. Hopefully, the weather will change, and we'll have a little bit of a spring before we instantly get to
Yeah,
summer.
let's hope.
Want to remind
June.
everybody that we have a public hearing on the town budget for fiscal 2012 on next Monday night. And that's the 25th. And that on May, I keep mixing this up, May 2nd is our meeting, right? On May 2nd, we will be finalizing the budget for our June 7th town meeting. Also, remind people that we have a town election on Tuesday, the 3rd of May, and would hope that there's good participation. Everybody get out and vote. We have one member of the board who is up for election, Mr. Delaney, and we have Mr. Vino, who's sat previously on the board running for the one single seat. With that, I will,
Just one final thing, Bob, if I may,
Yes, yeah,
before
sure,
we
yeah.
call for a motion to adjourn at 11:25. I would just encourage all the organizations out there on town meeting night of June 7th, if there's any way possible, you can suspend your activities for that evening so that we can get considerable turnout for town meeting. It's a very important town meeting.
isn't that the prom?
Well, I understand the prom, there's probably not much they can do about that, but
It's
I'm more,
June 6th, right?
Did I say this?
you said the 7th, I followed up with the 7th.
Sixth.
I'm sorry, it's June 6th, Monday, June 6th.
Thank you.
And I know there's nothing that can be done regarding the prom this year, however, I'm speaking more towards the athletic organizations. Somehow you can readjust your schedules, it's April now, a month and a half away. If you can readjust your schedules and try to suspend your events for that evening so that we don't have to sit and wait and text and Facebook and email people to get them to come to town meeting, even to get a quorum if one's necessary. So I'd like to see a turnout. I've been disappointed in the turnouts at town meetings. So hopefully if the organizations can assist and we can have a packed house that night. That's all.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Greg, I see no need for us to get together tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it doesn't, oh, no,
It already is.
unless you can figure out how to work slip box.
Greg,
No,
last
but,
week, same problem.